Hello, good morning. It's 9:20. I was up for about 45 minutes. I just I just did some meditation before I actually hopped on here. Um yeah, today is going to be a day. And I'm not really sure what it's going to look like, but I'm here for it. Trying to let my intuition kind of guide me. It's like, as I mentioned before, this is weird for me to try and not think and just kind of let my inner self talk to me about what I'm going to be doing today. So I don't have any specifics on what's actually going to happen. And I think I'm going to leave it that way because I don't want to limit the possibilities. So I'll check in throughout the day and we'll see what happens. Okay, my intuition is telling me I should be saying something. This feels fucking random and out of nowhere. But I'm gonna say it. I am not a monster. And it is okay for me to love myself. Just letting myself sit with that. That felt harder than I thought it was going to be, but just letting go of past energies, past stagnant energies that have kind of held me down, kept me from being myself. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Alright. See you in the next one. Hey guys. It's 10:08. I'm just I came back from a walk. It was actually a really nice walk. I had I saw well, I feel kind of bad about this, but I saw a snake that I think was dead. It was just kind of laying there. So that was a little sad, but I saw this really cute little hummingbird. Has a little red head. So yeah, that was nice. It's foggy out, but like, I don't know. It still was like a really nice walk. So I'm happy I did that. I forgot to weigh myself earlier, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go weigh myself. And man, it says that I'm at 285.1, and I'm like, really? Like I ate tofu and vegetables in the morning, but it was just prepared differently. I was thinking about it, I'm like, okay, I did have rice with that, which I normally don't have rice. So that is like a difference. And then obviously the sauce. And then in the evening, I had an Impossible Burger, and I had a side of fries. And I'm like, okay, well, calorie-wise, unless the... Oh, right, and then when I actually, like, came home, like, when I was, like, late at night, I'm like, okay, so I had a banana, and then I had a carrot. One of the carrots that I got from the store yesterday. But seems weird. So that either tells me that the math on the calories, I must not have been counting the rice properly. That's my guess, because math-wise, it seems like it would work out, because the burger was 400, and then the fries were 360, so it's like 760, and then I honestly don't know what the tofu and the steamed vegetables and the rice add up to, but the fact that I've been going on walks and like been consistent on activity makes me question like the validity there. So I don't know. Sometimes your weight just fluctuates too, but it is something to keep in mind. So I'm gonna watch throughout the week. Like I'm going back today. I'm gonna be eating my normal food. But I don't know. I'll have to really pay attention to Saturday and see when I do eat something other than what my normal meal schedule is. I'll have to just keep track of that. So I guess look forward to the tracking next week for more data. But man, that like really that really bothers me. Because it's like Wednesday I was at 285.3. So that effectively takes out basically all of what I did throughout the week food-wise and exercise-wise from like 2 meals. Maybe that's the lesson, is like, hey, you know, you think cheating, I say cheating, but like eating something other than what you normally would eat, you think that would be fine. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy. So I guess maybe it's something to learn about for anyone who's struggling on their meals. I'm not sure. We'll see. But anyway. Alright. See ya in the next one. Hello guys. It is 12:08. It just turned, so I was like confused. 07:08. Ha 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 ha. Okay, anyway. Oh, that's 6:07. Oh god. Well. Oh god. Okay. Well, what an interesting way to start this. Okay, so I took a shower and I made my food for the day, and I had some shower thoughts. My shower thoughts were, alright, so you're like, I want to love myself. What is love? Because, you know, in my head I'm thinking, you can't do something you don't understand, right? But then I thought about it. I'm like, well, there are lots of like signs that people give or things give. Like animals will do certain things if they love you. People will do certain acts or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's kind of just a feeling, right? Like, it's not just a feeling, but it's a feeling that internally is so hard to explain externally in words. Because there isn't really a proper way to fully encompass the feeling. So that's why you have, like, tons and tons of different songs about love and about different aspects of it, and you know what love means to a certain person. But you know, if love was super easy to explain, then there would be one song, and there would be, or maybe a few, and there would be a definition that you just point to and say, yep, that's love, and that's it. So I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, well, what do I currently love? And then I was like, okay, well, I love wizards, or the idea of magic and wizards. And I'm like, well, why? And I started listing off different qualities in my head. And I realize it's not... The qualities are coming after, but the love was there before I could quantify it, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like, okay, you got, on the one hand, you got your feeling that showed up, and then on the other hand, the brain trying to explain that feeling in a quantifiable way. Because I was like, oh, I could list all of these different qualities of, you know, wizards and magic that I think are really cool and I really like. Dare I say love. And so, yeah, then I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute. I realized on my walk, I'm like, oh, I really love the little, like, hummingbird that I saw. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about that hummingbird. It's just it has a little red head. It's just flying around. And then the yesterday, I also, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. It was like, I think it was yesterday or the day before, where I saw that same hummingbird, and it was like flying really high up into the air, and then and it like did a squeaky little high-pitched sound, and then it flew back up in the air, and then went and it just was like dive bombing. I don't know why. I didn't see anything that it was supposed to dive bomb to, so maybe it was just having a little fun flying really fast. I don't know. Yeah. So why was I so emphatic that I loved that hummingbird? It's weird. So then I'm like, okay, what? I have to think about this. And I'm like, well, hold on. Thinking about it is not going to get me the answer, because the love showed up without the thinking. I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay. So how am I going to figure this out? I don't know. So here I am talking about it. And I tried thinking about maybe intellectualizing, like, well, okay, before love, maybe it's something like you like it. And then before the like, maybe there's like fondness or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's the feeling that shows up. It's like 1 minute you don't love something, the next minute you do love something. So where does that happen? I don't know. I don't have an answer right now. Maybe that's okay. Maybe that's part of the journey, is having an answer for how to love. Maybe? I don't know. I can think of when it comes to other humans, like there's like affirmations and like saying the phrase, giving hugs, doing nice things for people. But again, that's kind of external things, not internal things. And then I thought of the idea of, what if it's like fake it till you make it? Like, not fake love, but like doing things that you would for something that you love, and then discovering the feeling later. But I don't think it works that way, because if it did, then people that are friends, like one-sided romantic feelings or whatever, where one person's like, I really love you, the other person's like, I don't. I feel like if that was the case, you'd have more people who are in that one-sided thing being like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just try and love you, and it'll just show up. And I guess maybe some people have done that, like in more of the older generations. There's this talk of like, you gotta learn to love, and you know, whatever that entails. So I guess maybe there's different kinds. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, because if you romantically love someone, like soulmate style, that's gonna look different than loving a friend or loving family members. Hopefully. So, there's also like unconditional love versus conditional love, which feels weird that there's a distinction there, because it's like, if you unconditionally love someone, that totally makes sense. It's like, you can't describe this other than just loving. But then conditional love, it's like, is that really love? Like, I don't think so. I think that's something else, because if you need something to happen in order for you to love a thing, then you don't love it, right? You love it regardless of the thing. Like, I'm thinking about the hummingbird. I love the hummingbird regardless of what it looks like. I didn't even know what it looked like the other time I was seeing it flying around. It was just a blur. And then I walked past him. I'm like, yeah, I love this little guy. He's a cute little guy doing his thing. And then afterwards I was like, oh, he landed, and I got to see like his or her features. I guess I don't know. Maybe it's a female hummingbird. I don't know. There's I did see two the other day, so I know there's a couple. So maybe the red one's the male because it has like brighter colors. I think that's a bird thing. But man, I've been rambling. Okay, well, I'm gonna think about this more. I don't know. I probably won't have an answer for you next time I talk, but okay, I'm gonna feel about this more. Intuition. I'm trying to do the intuition thing. So, I'm not trying. I have been doing the intuition thing pretty well. So, maybe letting my gut figure it out instead of my mind. Novel concept for me. Okay, bye. Hello. It's 12:29. I just got back with my food, and I just realized I hadn't recorded my food. So, it doesn't look like you can see the veggies. Let me. There, veggies. That was a sad, pathetic excuse for showing the veggies. But anyway, yeah, I do think it's important to document like what I'm eating. I explained what I ate yesterday. That's the only time, like, if I go out and eat, I'm obviously not going to record. Like, theoretically, I could take a picture of what I eat. Okay, maybe that's a good idea. I don't know. I'll think about it. If I do that, it'll show up. If I don't, then that's the way it is. I'll just explain it. But yeah, at least like when I'm on my meals for the 6 days I'm gonna be on them, just showing what I'm eating each day, I think is important. I guess technically I'm not showing you kombu and the what's it called? The kimchi that I eat before I get this. So, oh no, but yeah, the main food you see. You also don't see. I drink water every time I go downstairs because I live upstairs. Every time I go downstairs, I get a glass of water, like 12-ish to 14 ounces. So I don't drink sodas. I don't drink. To be fair, I kind of think soda's disgusting, but I think that's mainly because of the like. I'm not a fan of the carbonation, so I think anything that's carbonated, I'm just like, that's a no-go immediately. But yeah, I only drink water. Like, I refuse to drink other things. So that's something else that you don't see, but you're just going to have to trust me. I'm not going to take a picture of the water or, like, put my stream setup down there every time I want to drink water. So that's not going to happen. But yeah, I on average about like, let's see, 3 times for the meals, like before meals I'll make sure to drink 12-ish to 14 ounces, and then when I wake up in the morning I take 16 ounces, and then when I go to bed in the evening I take 16 ounces. So that's at least 5 times that I'm drinking water. And then, every time I go down there, like, it's water. It's Water City. So, yeah. So I'm pretty hydrated. I'm just thinking, like, this may be a little TMI, but like, I'm clear when I'm using the restroom, if that's any indication for you. I say that, but it's like, maybe it's too much water, honestly. Like, that, there's a distinct possibility I might be drinking too much water. Although, I don't know. Anyway. Okay. See you in the next one. Whatever that may be. Hey guys. It's 4:11. Middle of the Super Bowl. Well, I guess the Super Bowl just started apparently. But yeah. I did some meditation. I relaxed. And something that kind of has been really coming to me yesterday and today is the idea of not rushing into things and being slow but deliberate, as opposed to rushed and frantic. Yeah. So I think I'm going to rest and then continue on with my week. I have my big drink. It looks like the size of my head. I guess it's pretty big. It just about is the size of my head. It's not quite, but you know. So yeah, I'm just going to eat the food that I'm eating. I did my walk, and that's okay. I think something I'm really realizing is having the weekends be kind of restorative, and not that the week shouldn't keep me like restored already, but there's something about intentional relaxation, which sounds weird, but deciding that chaos and progress and all of this other stuff and needing to do things doesn't have to be every day, and that you can live in balance where there are times of rest and there are times of progress. And sometimes the rest helps speed up the progress. That saying of, oh God, how did it go? It was like, well, I mean, the essence of the saying is you go faster by going slower, where you kind of slow down and kind of let things work itself to where maybe you're not doing as much effort to get higher benefits, higher returns, you know? So that's what this feels like. I'm like itching to do things, but you know what? I'm listening. I'm resting. Kind of forcing myself to rest a little bit. It's like, stop. There was a moment where I was like, I'm going to post the stuff. And this is going to sound crazy. Immediately after I wanted to post the first video, I hopped onto YouTube. I popped on the upload video button. And I was like, oh, well, how do I, like... I clicked on it, and I'm like, wait, doesn't give me like a thumbnail thing. So how do I do the thumbnail thing? So I start typing in, how do I do thumbnails on YouTube? And halfway through the typing, my computer crashes. I'm like, okay, not what I'm supposed to be doing right now. So then I immediately was like, all right, well, what am I supposed to be doing? And I just laid down, and then I started listening to some meditation, guided meditation. And I spent like, I don't know, like an hour or two. I spent a while just relaxing and meditating. And I just let my thoughts just... So, there we are. Okay. I'm gonna drink my... I can't even... Words. My smoothie. or my protein shake. Okay. I'm gonna drink my protein shake. I'm gonna rest the rest of the day. You're probably gonna hear from me like one more time in the evening before I go to bed. I'll probably do it when I do my like coach check-in at the end of the day. So yeah. See you guys then. Hey guys, it's 6:25, and I just kind of came to a realization that I kind of wanted to mention. Been talking about loving yourself. And I think I've been looking at it wrong. It's not me trying to love myself. And I think this is true for everyone. I'm not too sure. This feels like it can apply to everyone. I'm actually looking to rediscover my love for myself. Yeah, it's like, I don't know how to really describe. There's like a knowing. It's like, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I truly do believe we go through reincarnations or some sort of... There's more out there. And I think it's important to remember that maybe sometimes we go through periods where we forget that we love ourselves. Not necessarily that we've never loved ourselves. And I think that's an important distinction. Because the moment that you realize there has been a point in time when you have loved yourself, it's almost like, oh, I just need to remember. And that if my previous self could be loved, then of course my present self can be loved as well, right? So Sometimes it almost feels like the opposite, where it's like, well, I love myself. Like, I'm trying to love myself now in spite of my past, when in actuality it's you loved yourself in the past and you just forgot, or you don't feel it at the moment. So it's like you've forgotten and you just need to remember. You just need to wake up and remember that there is like this incredibly powerful love just sitting there, and it's always been there. It's not something that you can lose, because it's always there. And I think about how each one of us is trying to remember. And in remembering, it profoundly changes how you interact with the world. Because when you love yourself, that love starts kind of radiating off of you. And that's where you see, like, how is it that you can love someone else but not love yourself? And I think the answer is, actually, you do love yourself, you've just forgotten. It's just, maybe it's that simple, where it's like, yeah, I forgot. And now I remember. And it changes your perception, but it doesn't mean that the love isn't there when you don't feel it. It's like, I like thinking of it in terms of there are people in your life that you really care about, or you love, and maybe they don't feel it because they're trapped in their own mind of I can't be loved because I'm not good enough, or I don't have a specific job or a specific thing, or I haven't proved a specific thing I need to prove, or I feel worthless, or whatever it is. Whatever it is that's there. That doesn't change how you feel about the person. So it's like, you love the person, but that person doesn't feel it. Imagine that for yourself, where you don't feel the love. I'm talking to people who haven't found their, or rediscovered loving themselves, right? But it's like, maybe you don't feel the love, but that does not mean that the love isn't there. So I think that's really profound, because that kind of speaks to something deeper, where it's like, what is it that is stopping you from feeling your own love? That's like, whoa, that's a deep question. And that's a very different question. Because I've always found it so bizarre that we ask, like, well, how can I feel like I can love myself? Or it's like, how can I love whatever you've done, right? Because usually it's like, okay, I've done something that I'm not proud of. Now how can I love that about myself? Because clearly I've done it. So, like, how can I love myself even after I've done this thing, right? And yeah, it's like, it's totally backwards. It's, you've decided to cut off the love. So it's still there, but you can't see it because you're so caught up in judging yourself for a thing you've done. Oh, it was, it could be like on the opposite end. It could be like, oh my gosh, like my friends, my family, they've all ran away from me. No one loves me. And so, of course, if no one loves me, maybe there's something wrong with me. And so it's like, you choose to put up a barrier because if you didn't have that barrier and you felt that love still, the illusion just collapses completely. Where it's like, yeah, I am loved. And so it's kind of like a self-deception that you kind of put on yourself for whatever reason. And it's incredibly easy for that delusion to take hold because we're not perfect. So yeah, we're gonna fuck up, right? And sometimes it's gonna be a big fuck up. It's gonna be like, whoa, I just like world-ending fuck up right at this moment. And you think like, how can I recover from doing this? Or it's, how can I recover from a trauma? Maybe it's some really big trauma that you've experienced, and you're like, how can I exist and love myself and feel love, because like the world is shit, everything is fucked. That's an illusion. You hear it from the media, you hear it from people around you, you hear it from yourself. You see a random thing that happened, and you're like, you extrapolate it. So one thing becomes 10 things, or 100 things, or 1,000 things in your mind, where you see a story, or you have a negative experience, and you let that internalize, and that becomes the reality that you live. Where it's suddenly, it's not, I'm gonna live my day and we'll just kind of see what happens and kind of be open to all experiences. And instead it's, I'm going to have another shitty day, or I'm gonna have another terrible experience, because you've locked down on, this is how my experience is going to play out. You're not allowing for anything else to exist. So you shut off, like, oh, no one loves me. I don't love anyone, no one loves me. That you just shut yourself off. It's not, the love is still there. You just shut yourself off from feeling it. Anyway, I think that's really important, and I think more people need to realize that the thing that's holding them back from loving themselves is their own preconceived notion of whatever experience they had that's making them shut themselves off. Because in a sense, it's like, maybe it's like it hurts to know that you're still loved, even though you've done something. Like, it hurts in like a way of like, yeah, I really did fuck up bad, huh? Like, the fact that I'm still loved even after I did the thing, or even after I experienced the thing. It means there's no way to run away from those feelings. The remorse, the sadness. And so you have to face it if you do feel the love. Maybe that's why feeling loved is like, it's like a revealing light that like, yeah, it just kind of reveals like, hey, you're still loved regardless. So that means now the onus is on me to kind of be okay with what has happened. It's not some sort of external thing where it's like, okay, well, you know, X happened and so I can blame something external. Instead, it's like, yeah, it's internal, and you have to face the fact that you're your harshest critic. You judge yourself the most. No one else lives in your shoes the way that you do. So maybe you were a dick at one point, driving down the street and cutting someone off. Or maybe you caused some horrific accident. And it's like, maybe someone died because of you. And it's like, if you have to face that, that's incredibly hard. Because, yeah, you can't run away from an understanding that even though, of course, we create circumstance in our head, right? For anything that goes on. So, we'll use the drunk driver example that I was alluding to. Maybe you were really upset and sad and depressed, and you went out, you got some drinks, and then you got in the car. Maybe a friend was like, hey, you probably shouldn't drive. You're like, nah, I'm fine. I've driven like 10 times before. It's fine. I'm not even that drunk, right? And then, I don't know, on the way home, maybe it's only a couple miles. And in that couple miles, you hit someone because you weren't paying attention. Because of course you weren't, because you were drunk, right? And you hurt someone, or maybe you kill someone, and now that's a permanent thing where you're like, fuck. Like, I did this thing. I can't, like, take it back, right? So, taking that kind of energy one of the first things that you probably feel is remorse. And then it's like, I want to run away. It's too much. So of course, if you're feeling that way, you're going to shut yourself off and shut yourself down. And also, it's kind of like, well, I'm not allowed to be loved. It's not about whether you do love yourself. It's about, oh, no, I'm not allowed to love because look what I did. And until you face the thing, the drunk driver, the whatever energy it is that you're feeling, you're not going to feel love. Even though it's there. So what does this all mean? It just means that you need to learn that the only one stopping you from feeling love is you. And so you just need to find out what it is that's stopping you. Figure it out. Maybe it's a traumatic thing. Maybe it's not that you did something wrong. Maybe it's that you went through a really horrible experience. And that equally could be a way where you're like, I'm going to shut myself off from the world. Sorry, I bumped the mic. Maybe you shut yourself off from the world and you're afraid of like being yourself. Well, not being yourself, that's something that, again, is a self-imposed limitation. It's not something someone else did. Yeah, an accident or a thing or whatever happened to you. We'll use the drunk driving thing again. Maybe you were the person who was a passenger and your best friend or a loved one died. And you're like so angry. How could this fucking idiot drunk drive and kill someone? And it's like, my whole life is ruined because of this fucking drunk driver. And maybe you say things to the guy like, fuck you. Like, you were just super mad about the whole thing. Or maybe you were just out of it. In either scenario. You also have to work through all of the things internally that you're feeling. And if you shut yourself off from the world, all you're doing is prolonging the time that it takes to work through all of that energy. And kind of wrapping it all together. I believe that we all are. We talk about throughout history, we've talked about like different kinds of God. Different religions have different like interpretations of like a God existence of some kind. But generally it's all kind of funneled into like there is some sort of like God-like entity that is basically everything. That's kind of where all religions kind of end up. Is like, okay, there's a God out there, it is everything, and what are we going to do about it? And it's kind of like, okay. And it usually has to do with like internal, like doing something internally to connect to this like higher presence. So I believe that, like, yeah, I think we all are part of the same entity and that this existence is all effectively like a mind construct or some sort of like consciousness construct, that we're just a part of this little tiny cog in this huge vast machine. And yeah, basically we go through our lives and we think like the individual things that we're dealing with here are super important. But I think it's more about the journey and the lessons rather than the individual materialistic stuff. You know, it's not about collecting, I don't know, let's say you collect bobbleheads. It's not about collecting bobbleheads. It's about, there's something deeper that the collecting of the bobbleheads is kind of hinting at for you. That matters. And so, going back to the drunk driver case, in both people's scenarios, they have things they have to learn. On the one hand, for the drunk driver, it's forgiving himself and understanding a valuable lesson that he or she previously didn't like get. And then on the person who was the victim of the drunk driver, there's also a lesson there about understanding that this terrible thing has happened to you. However, you don't need it to consume your life. Because at the end of the day, things will happen to you in this experience. And it's about how you respond that makes a difference in how you exist. Anyway, I rambled for, oh my gosh, 26 minutes. Holy crap. I'm so sorry. This is going to be like an hour-long random Sunday. So, sorry about that. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk about this more in like a more structured thing, but I just felt like I had to say my thing. So, yeah. Okay. Bye. Greetings. It is 7:49. I almost ate my food without doing a video, and I almost forgot. So, this is how much left I have of a carrot. I added a carrot tonight. I don't know. I felt like it. Felt like it would be cool to be Bugs Bunny again, chewing my little carrot. I even did a joke to my roommates. It was fine. Here's my apple. And then probably the most massive grapes. You can't tell from this bowl. Here, I shall surface a grape. Ugh. Okay. This? Oh, no, the milk. This is the massive grape. It's not, like, you can't really tell scale, but it is, like, 2 to 3 times the size of a normal grape. It is crazy. And it's just, I found a bunch of grapes of this size at a store. And it was just, I was like, yeah, I'm getting those grapes. So, here I am eating. So, I'm gonna do my eating. Haven't gotten the check-in for Sunday yet, but, I mean, I don't know. I got a email. I just looked at my emails, and she sent me an email. The coach sent me an email, that was like, I talked yesterday in the check-in about how like transformational the like relaxing energy has been, and kind of switching my gear over from like a checklist focus to more of like a see what comes out of the day. It's not like I'm not gonna be doing my videos, eating, doing my walk, any of that stuff, but when it comes to like posting and editing videos and doing my writing, I'm gonna let, like, maybe some days I won't do that, but then there will be other days where maybe I do a lot. So I'm just gonna let my intuition just kind of guide me on that. But anyway, so her response, which ticked me off a little bit, was, is it safe to assume you didn't stick to your routine yesterday? You didn't mention hitting any of your goals, just checking for accountability. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. I'm just trying to look to see. Yeah, I guess, like, to be fair, my previous messages have been all about, like, the checklist. And while yesterday I did do my walk and was, like, trying to channel more of, like, a, hey, I'm just gonna do what my intuition's telling me. Like, clearly, from a checklist standpoint, it was a botched day, right? So I can totally understand where, if me not mentioning it, yeah, like, it makes sense why she sent me the message. At the same time, it's kind of like, it's so surface level that it's like, it makes me question. I'll just say this. It makes me question her coaching. Which, I don't know. I've already had a few kind of like weird vibe checks that I'm questioning. And so I guess I'm just gonna leave it there. I think she has a lot of knowledge, and I think her work that she's done for herself that translates into like knowledge to like impart to other people has been obviously incredibly helpful for her. And she's also helped a lot of other people. So it's not necessarily that her methods are bad or wrong or whatever. I think it's just that, I'll just say it, I get the vibe that she is prescribing to me, or onto me, a very specific, I don't know if maybe it's like she's known someone that has a similar vibe to me, or if it's like maybe she had a client or something. But every time I've kind of talked about my journey and kind of where I've gone, it seems to me like she dismisses the journey that I've gone on and says, yeah, whatever, it's all fake. Like, it's very dismissive. And I'm not saying that she specifically said my journey was fake. What she has said is, like, what's the best way to describe this? The experience we're experiencing right now is, for all intents and purposes, fake / illusory. And I totally agree to a certain extent, where it's like, I agree it is, but it's not, it's like, it's fake in so much as if you play a video game, an example, let's say you play, I don't know, any multiplayer game. I'll use World of Warcraft. It's a massively multiplayer game. Awesome. Lots of people play it. Lots of people have genuine experiences playing that game. Sometimes it's betrayal. Sometimes it's like friendships that they've like... It's a whole thing where like the community is built and you can make lasting friendships. It's a big thing. And it would be the same thing as if someone said, oh, that's nice that you've done whatever in the game, but it's all just an illusion, so it doesn't matter. It's like, well, yeah, technically the video game doesn't matter within the context of reality, but also it does have lasting effects on reality. It's like maybe you made new friends, or you learned something about yourself, or, you know, it's like teamwork building skills. There are a lot of, like, I won't get into it, but, like, so that's kind of the vibe I'm getting, is maybe she's at a point in her life where it is useful to use that moniker of, like, well, it's an illusion, so it doesn't matter, it's all made up, right? Which, again, is, like, technically true, but also it's, like, there's, like, nuance that's kind of missing from that perspective, right? So I just need to remember when going in and dealing with, kind of talking with her, it's like maybe the reason I was kind of drawn to like working with her is actually, I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to be helping her and not the other way around, which sounds weird. She's the coach, but like, we're all on different levels of things, and I have a very specific skill set that I've kind of honed over time, and so I have some insights that maybe would be helpful to her. I don't know. It also could be the case that she has, I do know she has very specific insights that are incredibly helpful, like working with the inner child and like integrating yourself. These are all things that are like very helpful and transformational that she has good insight in. So I think the jury's kind of still out on whether or not I'm misreading, or like there's just something that I'm missing here. The pieces are not all there yet. So I don't want to make any sort of statements. These are my vibes for now. And hopefully they'll change in a positive way. I do think, like, thinking back on, like, what I talked about earlier with the, what she said about, hey, did you stick to the routine? My responses to her were really short, so, like, it makes sense that the next step for her would be, oh, check in, because he wanted me to like check in with him and make him accountable, right? So yeah, so she's doing exactly what I like asked, right? So I think me being peeved is more of like the background stuff where like there's like a weird vibe going on and I'm not really sure. So I think I'm going to have to wait until Wednesday, let myself take the back burner and just see how things unfold naturally. And if the vibe's wrong or the vibe's weird, then it will unfold naturally. Like, I don't have to go looking for anything. It also could be just as a kind of analysis thing, it could be something that I internally was like, maybe her like style rubbed off on me weird, and so internally I'm like, oh, I don't like a specific thing. Maybe I'm the one who had some sort of negative response due to, like, maybe I'm remembering a past person that she reminds me of. So I don't know yet. So I think it's fair to say I need to be open and I need to gather more information, so observe, and then I need to bring up to her my concerns in a respectful way, right? Like, it wouldn't be fair for me to bombard her and say, hey, I have all these things that I think, right? So I think going in and just being like, okay, let's see what she has to say, based on the week, and then go from there. So I guess the coach saga will come back at a later point throughout these. So, all right, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Big Monday. I get the feeling a lot's going to get done tomorrow. I don't want to paint anything specific, but yeah, I feel like it's going to be a good day. So, looking forward to it. All right. Good night.